New evidence brings twists that hits Horner and Aston Martin like fire. Christian Horner's story in Formula One has never lacked drama, but no one expected this kind of plot twist. After 2 decades of leading Red Bull Racing to glory, 8 driver championships, 6 constructors titles, and countless headlines, he's suddenly on the outside looking in. And not because of some simple internal reshuffle or retirement plan. No, this was a full-blown coup. Quiet, calculated, and brutal. The kind of chess move you'd expect in a corporate boardroom, not a racing paddock. Let's back up for a second. For years, Horner was seen as untouchable. Red Bull and Horner were practically synonymous. He'd been with them since day one in 2005, shaping the team from its messy beginnings into a championship juggernaut. But things began shifting when Chalerm Yoovidhya's eldest son, who held a chunk of the tie-back ownership, sold off 2% of his stake. That 2% was all it took to flip the balance of power. With Austria now holding 51%, they didn't waste any time making their move. Horner was out, just like that. Of course, Red Bull didn't frame it as a power struggle. There was talk of internal investigations, WhatsApp leaks, inappropriate behavior, and performance issues. Let's be honest, those were symptoms, not causes. The real reason? Horner overplayed his hand. He wanted total control. Not just a seat at the table, but the entire damn table. And once Austria had the votes, they showed him the door. Still, kicking out a man with Horner's legacy isn't the end of his story. It's just the beginning of a new one. And now all eyes are on where he'll land next. Is he done with F1? Not even close. In fact, he might be plotting something even bigger than before. Word in the paddock is that Horner isn't just looking to manage a team again, he wants to own one. That's right, team principal isn't enough anymore. After getting iced out of Red Bull, he wants the kind of power no one can take away from him. Ownership, equity, full control. Martin Brundle nailed it when he said Horner didn't just want to run Red Bull, he wanted to be Red Bull. And when that dream got pulled out from under him, he didn't just sulk. He started looking for his next empire. That brings us to Alpine. At first glance, Alpine might seem like an odd fit. They're stuck in the midfield, constantly promising more than they deliver. But dig a little deeper and it starts to make a lot of sense. They've got decent infrastructure, Mercedes power coming in 2026, and most importantly, they're desperate for leadership. After a carousel of managers and constant reshuffles, Alpine's biggest issue isn't the car, it's the chaos behind the scenes. And Horner? He thrives in chaos. It's also no secret that Alpine's been shopping around for investors. They've taken on Hollywood money, but they still need more. If Horner swoops in with a serious stake and the promise of rebuilding from the top down, you better believe they'd listen. Then there's the elephant in the garage, Pierre Gasly, the same guy Horner once demoted halfway through a season at Red Bull. The same guy who turned that humiliation into a redemption arc, winning a Grand Prix and proving he wasn't done yet. Now, Gasly's Alpine's top driver, and it's very likely his voice will be heard if Horner ever makes a move there. And strangely enough, Gasly might just be okay with it, because at the end of the day, even the people Horner's burned can't deny the results he brings. Alpine isn't just a possible landing spot, it might be the only one that truly fits Horner's ambition right now. Ferrari's out. They just locked in Fred Vasseur, and their political machinery is a fortress Horner would rather burn down than be trapped inside. Mercedes? Forget it. The Toto Wolff rivalry is legendary, and Toto's not handing over any keys. McLaren is surging already with a stable setup. That leaves Alpine messy, underperforming, but wide open for a proper rebuild. And here's the real kicker. Flavio Briatore is back. Yes, that Briatore, the man behind Renault's rise in the early 2000s and the chaos of Crashgate. He's loud, he's brash, and he doesn't care what anyone thinks. With him now playing a behind-the-scenes power role at Alpine, the door for someone like Horner to come in and run the show is wide open. They're both cut from the same cloth, controversial, powerful, and obsessed with winning. Nico Rosberg even said it best. He believes Horner taking a piece of Alpine and working alongside Briatore could be the comeback story of the decade. Think about it. Horner as CEO, Briatore as chairman, Mercedes engines from from 2026 and a team hungry to prove they belong at the front. It's the perfect storm. But of course, there's baggage. Horner's name doesn't come without noise. Even though he was cleared legally after the investigation at Red Bull, the whispers haven't stopped. There's still this cloud hanging over him about the culture he fostered within the team. Red Bull's internal drama wasn't just about performance, it was about control, politics, and loyalty. The WhatsApp leaks, the internal revolt, the sudden exits of key personnel. It all paints a picture of a leader who pushed too far for too long. Still, in Formula One, performance always talks louder than politics, and Christian Horner's track record screams. He turned Red Bull into a dynasty. He managed superstar drivers, won races with multiple engine suppliers, and kept the team relevant through massive regulatory changes. That kind of experience doesn't disappear overnight. Teams know that, sponsors know that, and Alpine especially needs that kind of gravitational pull. They don't just need someone to make decisions, they need someone who is the decision. Someone who can walk into a garage and make everyone believe that winning isn't a dream, it's expected. That's what Horner brings. He's not afraid to take the heat, to play mind games in the press, to fight tooth and nail with the FEA if it means gaining an edge. There's also the possibility that this could finally give Gasly the redemption arc he's been quietly building toward. Everyone remembers how Horner dropped him back to Toro Rosso, but not everyone realizes the kind of mutual respect that's grown since. Gasly's admitted in interviews that he never doubted Horner's talent, he just didn't like the environment. Now, with a new team, a clean slate, and nothing to lose, the two might be ready to put the past behind them and build something new. Whether or not Alpine is ready to hand over that kind of power to Horner is the real question. The politics inside that team are just as tangled as Red Bull's ever were, but the hunger? It's there. They're tired of being the almost team. They want to make noise, and if Horner shows up with a checkbook and a vision, they might just let him. The wild card in all of this is Horner's personality. He's not the kind of guy who sits quietly in a boardroom shuffling papers. He needs to be in the garage, in the meetings, in the media scrums, pulling strings and playing mind games with rival teams. That's why any talk of him jumping ship to a non-competitive role, like becoming FIA president, is just noise. People like Horner don't chase titles. They chase power they can use. They build, lead, fight, and most of all, win. Total Wolff even joked that Horner better watch his language if he's angling for Mohammed Ben Sulayem's job, but Bernie Collins shut that down fast. As she put it, Horner is too much of a team guy to become some rulebook enforcer. He's built for the fire of competition, not regulation. And that's why the idea of him joining Alpine in a leadership role, not as a corporate figurehead, but as a shot caller, feels so real. It's the only move that lets him stay in the fight. But even if Horner does find a way into Alpine or any other team, the question remains, how much damage did his Red Bull exit do to his reputation? Sure, he has an unmatched resume, but F1 isn't just about results. It's about perception too. And when a team you helped build for 20 years pushes you out despite your success, people start to wonder, did he lose the locker room? Was he too power hungry? Did he push too far too often? Still, those questions fade quickly in the face of results. Give Horner the tools, the budget, and a bit of freedom, and he'll turn any midfield outfit into a title threat. He's done it once, and he's probably itching to prove he can do it again, without the safety net of Red Bull's empire behind him. There's also the undeniable appeal of revenge. Horner doesn't need to say it out loud, but you know he'd love nothing more than to take a struggling team molded into a force and then go wheel to wheel with Red Bull on the track. Not just to win races, but to prove a point. To show Austria, to show Max Camp, to show the entire paddock that he wasn't the problem. He was the reason they ever dominated in the first place. And if you zoom out even further, Horner's comeback story could be just what F1 needs right now. Between cost caps, driver drama, and unpredictable regulations in 2026, the sport is entering a new era. The door is wide open for fresh rivalries, shocking returns, and power shifts. A Christian Horner redemption arc, one where he comes back as a partial owner and turns a broken team into a beast, would be one hell of a headline. It would also reignite some of the sport's greatest dynamics. Imagine the media chaos of a Toto vs Horner rivalry reboot, only this time with different teams, different engines, and different stakes. Imagine Horner building something from scratch, standing in front of a podium not with a drink in hand, but with full authority over every decision that got them there. He may be out of Red Bull, but Christian Horner isn't out of Formula One. Not even close. The man's too wired for competition, too hungry, too dangerous to stay away for long. And wherever he ends up, boardroom, pit wall, or both, you can bet he's coming back with a plan. Because in this sport, legacy isn't given, it's taken. And Horner's not done taking. Not yet.